Kaylee's thinking about stepping out of his comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, I think I want to go hunting. I've never been hunting before. I don't have anything personally against hunting. I do not like the mass killing of animals or trophy hunting, but going out into the wilderness or woods or whatever and, taking down a deer and then eating it, like cleaning it, having, going through that process and basically bringing that meat home. That kind of, it's intriguing.
Where did this all start?
Well, we had an episode on my podcast, the Man Fused podcast, a few weeks back. My co-host went pheasant hunting with my neighbor. Now, I was like, oh, cool. And I pictured at that time, okay, these guys are going to be like wedding crashers. They're going to be out in the woods. They're going to be blowing their little, pheasant horn. And they're going to be like, there they are, and shooting them. Come to find out after the hunt, which it wasn't really a hunt, that they went to a place it's this controlled environment where the guys are like sitting around this like giant like circle and they're releasing the birds from the middle and then just shooting them out of the sky. And I'm like, I've never heard of that before.
Doesn't seem like much of a challenge.
No, it isn't. I said that's why I labeled that episode Duck Hunt, sort of, because I was like, yeah, it just kind of blew my mind. I didn't even know places like that existed. But then we got to talking. And my neighbor actually recommended I check out this documentary called Stars in the Sky. There's also a follow-up to that called Meat Eater. They're both on Netflix. And what it talks about, it was basically this guy that was born into hunting, and that him and his family, his brothers, that's all they did. And they really broke down the perception of hunters now to, PETA and vegans, and they will probably hate all of this. But hunters actually help in the conservation of animals. They have to go through and get licenses to, kill certain animals, and only at, specified amounts. Back in, Theodore Roosevelt time, there was, there were so many animals on the verge of extinction, and hunters actually helped bring some of these species back to life. And I just think it's something cool that I think would be good to teach my kid. And having that skill set to be able to go and hunt for your own food and bring that home. If an apocalyptic thing ever happens, that's a skill set you might need.
That's like the last excuse you need if you want to try hunting.
But being out in the woods and away from your phone, and being out in nature and just going through those steps, I just think I think it's valuable.
So we live in the South here, and this is pretty routine here in the South.
Yeah.
So this isn't shocking. I don't judge anybody that does it. Eliza's dad is a big old hunter. I know a lot of guys that go out for weekends with other dudes, and they put the camo on and all that, and they stay out there in their little huts and stuff, and they shoot deer all weekend. I just can't take the life of anything. I don't look. This is your lifestyle, and this is the way that you grew up. You do you. But me, like shooting something and watching it struggle and die is so out of my comfort zone. It's just not something that I personally could actually witness.
I cried when I ran over a squirrel once. Hunting's not going to be in my bag.
All right.
Cassie, you want to say
I ran over a rabbit once, and it affected me for about 15 years.
Yeah. Sounds to me like the rabbit got behind a steering wheel, and tried getting you back about 15 years ago. When you first started working.
Karma's coming.
I hate hunting, but at the same time, I agree with you. I think there's something very powerful, and they'll do this sometimes. Some farmers will do this, and my sister has experienced this when she's traveled overseas. They'll make you kill like the chicken you're about to eat. And I think there's something very powerful when you realize what exactly is being given up so that you can sustain life. Another life has been lost if you choose to eat meat. And I think there are ways you can do it where you honor the animal.
Exactly.
You try and, put them in a minimum pain, and then you use every part of the animal, down to the bones and the skin. And because that life was given up as a gift. So I don't like hunting for sport, just for like, oh, look, I did it. It's fun. But to really teach a lesson about this is what happens when you eat meat, and we all live together harmoniously on this planet, and a life has been given up so that you can continue to live yours. I think there's a powerful lesson in that.
And and I'm surprised you got my back on this. I'm like blown away, Cassie. Thank you. That's great. I mean, you're right. And I think that if you are a meat eater, the mass killing of and I'm a victim, or I'm guilty of it too. I go and buy steaks from the store, but you don't see, or chickens from the store, the way that a lot of these animals are being killed there, and in how many hundreds of thousands, so it could be on a shelf somewhere, is, to me, that's crazier when you think about it versus, you're taking down, let's say if it's a deer, and that could feed you for months, versus, thousands a day that are just being slaughtered.
Hey, Jordan, we got about 30 seconds here. What do you want to add to that?
I was going to tell him, I don't want him to be disappointed when he goes out there, but in the state of Georgia, you have to kill 6 doves before you can take a buck.
Is that right?
Yeah, 6 doves before you can take a buck, because overpopulation of doves is everywhere.
Well, they gotta go. They gotta go if I'm out there.
I didn't realize that was law in Georgia. So you got to kill 6 doves in order to get to a buck. Is that what you said?
Is it a dove or a doe?
It's a doe.
I mean.
I know doves. I'm thinking
I was like, you gotta kill birds before you can kill it. I was so confused.
Me too.
A doe before you get a buck.
Yes.
Okay. So you're going to do it?
Yeah, I want to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring my son too.
Just don't do that thing where they wipe the blood on your face. I always found that weird. Maybe that's me being judgy.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
I can see you
never
doing
got
that.
I wouldn't do that.
seeing you do that.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get a lot more of The Bert Show for free on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.